Well, Tiffany Henyard did it again. She released a campaign video trying to avoid blame for the deficit she has put our village in. So if that were true, that she is innocent and was completely unaware of any spending on credit cards or without board approval, then she doesn't deserve to be mayor. For the leader of the village to not have any idea how the money is being spent should be a reason not to vote for her in itself. Nothing is ever her fault. She actually had the audacity to blame the trustees by creating false narratives and allegations. Even though it's not necessary to fact-check her at this point, we can't let her get away with such nonsense without responding with actual receipts. Let's dive in.
The Board of Trustees unlawfully kept Mayor Henyard from being on the bank account. She had to go to court just to get on the account.
When other people come and do work in our village, y'all need to pay them. Do not hold up their money and think you're going to get it paid to do nothing. So we're going to do the same thing until you pay them people, then y'all get y'all check.
She don't have the authority to do that.
Watch me. Watch
You're not even on the bank account.
So next, old business. So just to clear this up so the residents and everybody know what's going on. Basically, this Board of Trustees have put the village in financial despair. They put us in court several different times. If anyone's not following, they cost us over $600,000 for a recall for this attorney to get paid off of. I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to work with a board that's willing to work with me. What's a shame is why we ended up in court. This October warrant list, October 3rd, 2022 warrant list, when Trustee Jason House and this clerk right here, Clerk Key, went to the bank to remove me off the bank account. Let me tell you how deep this gets. Trustee Keys and your attorney, that attorney right there, well, clerk, okay, Clerk Key, and that attorney right there goes into the bank to remove me, your mayor, off the bank account. So y'all should ask yourself, why are they going through so many great lengths to remove me when the law state the mayor and the clerk is the ones on the bank account? So put Trustee House on the bank account. This way y'all need to open your eyes at so you can understand what is truly going on. It's a money grab, a power grab.
We would love to answer the question she posed. Why was it so important for her to be removed? Before we discuss why the trustees felt it was urgent for Tiffany to be removed as a signer from the bank account, here is Tiffany passing a resolution in May 2021 when she first became mayor.
Next, we have a resolution authorizing signatories on bank accounts. Is there a motion?
Sorry, we can't let this one slide. Let us educate you, Tiff. It's pronounced signatories. Anyway, the resolution states that Tiffany and Clerk Allison Key will be the two signatures on the bank accounts. That means both signatures are required for check payments to vendors. Fast forward to April of 2022, when Tiffany decided to ignore the rules and do her own thing by solo signing a check for $561,821. Clerk Key never signed it, meaning Tiffany was the only signature. The board never authorized this $500,000 payment to a vendor who didn't have a contract in the village. She got very defensive when she was questioned about it in a board meeting. She must have forgotten about that resolution she passed in May 2021. Jason House gives the real version of what happened in court that day and the reasoning behind it.
Two comments on this one. One is what was conveniently omitted was the lawsuit the mayor's office filed against the board because the mayor's name was removed off the bank account. That case is still pending. However, at this time, the judge reviewed the facts, as Trustee Steve generally says. So I want to channel my inner Trustee Steve and say the judge reviewed the facts of the case, saw all the evidence put in front of us, and has still determined that that the mayor's name should not be placed back on the bank account.
That's not true.
That's not a loss. That's still something that was done through legislative council. Point two, and as I heard the administrator making his comments on the cases, I'm approximating here, so please correct me again. I heard two cases that had $121,000 from Olson Stirk and $198,000, which estimates about $330,000 worth of legislative council fees. The mayor comes and says 600,000, $1 million, $1.5 million.
It's $1 million.
But again, it was just read into the record by the village administrator, the amounts. I would also comment that the $300,000 that we're speaking of in terms of fees, one, would not be there if we followed proper process and procedure. That's the reason we end up in court. And two, would not be because of that. That's some of the things that we're doing when we talk about removing things because they were not in the budget. Before making these adjustments, these items were being paid recklessly and blatantly by the mayor's office. It requires two signatures on checks. We got 6 months worth of checks with one signature on it. these items would have continued to move forward, and we would have been out of 1.6 or more dollars were it not for this legislative council. And my comments, Mayor.
All right.
As expected, Tiffany's response was based on ego, not facts.
All right. So just so everybody know how it go when you run a municipality such as this. I am the chief operator for the Village of Dalton. So my signature will always get approved as it relates to going into a bank. The clerk only contests to my signature. I don't need 2 signatures. I don't need her to cash a check. I do not. It has always been that way, and it is that way.
This is the reason the trustees could no longer trust her to stay as a check signer on the bank account. She was spending money without board approval and paying it without following protocol. Hey, wait, we think this is an example of financial mismanagement of funds Lori Lightfoot was talking about.
For much of the time that's being discussed, she's being illegally kept from knowing what's going on with the money. Now that seems like it would be important. That's the truth. But Lori Lightfoot did not mention that.
Tiffany wants you to believe she didn't have access to see the bank account or how the money was being spent. Since the trustees like to be transparent, there were additional facts about this lawsuit that Tiffany failed to mention. Let's hear what Trustee Belcher had to say.
That Trustee House and the clerk hijacked the bank account and nobody could see anything in the accounts.
Listen how the mayor will lie and her department heads will also lie.
No one up here could see anything that y'all was doing for an entire year. We didn't have access to anything because Jason House was on the bank account, and so was Allison Key. The mayor wasn't on it. So we couldn't call, check up, check in, see what was going on because you guys was the holders on the account.
Last card was canceled or suspended in June by whoever had administrative rights over that account, which is not anyone sitting up here.
Thank you.
That's staff.
So of course I had to go back and do my digging to get a copy of the email that came directly from the representative at Fifth Third Bank. And I'll make sure that you have a copy of it so you can present it to the world. But it says Jason House and Allison Key are signers on the Village of Dalton accounts. However, the current administrators for Fifth Third Direct online platform is Keith Freeman, Tanjanique Miller, and Janice Johnson.
So you're saying, she's saying they hijacked and that they couldn't see it.
And
it's clearly saying
that Keith Freeman, Tanjanique Miller, and Janice Johnson were the ones that was actually can see anything that was going on. And then it goes on to state that the administrators are the ones that can cancel the credit cards. So once again, the stories that are being portrayed to the public are not accurate stories. And I have a problem with that because if you want us to come to a meeting every month to vote on finances, we should be entitled to see the true finances to make accurate decisions.
Just to clarify, the mayor added 3 of her own staff members to the bank account, lied about it, and then got upset when the trustees tried to take action against it. For anyone who still thinks she would be responsible once she was put back on as a signer, here is what she had to say.
Because we're back on the bank account, guess what? Guess what I'm about to do? Everybody get roofs and windows. You get a roof, you get a window. Everybody get roofs and windows. What you mean?
Next, we will show you just a small sample of Tiffany ignoring the board every time they asked her to follow policy and procedure.
When you follow the proper channels, that means that everything's supposed to come before the vote for a vote. You don't vote on it after it's been paid. You had the event already. The proper procedure is to come before the event to get it approved, and then you go from there.
Okay.
You got to talk to your board, man.
Procedure here.
Okay, so
You asking us to pay something that you're going to pay anyway. So why are we even talking about it? The magic word is receipts. If we have the receipts,
you have
then
it.
let's pay it.
It's in
Well,
front of
show
you.
the receipts.
Oh, okay,
I'm done.
I'm
Thank you.
prepared. It's gonna get taken care of.
We do not have the receipts and we do not have the documentation. You know, it baffles me how many you sit here and you say, well, I got the receipts. Well, please show us how people showed you receipts. Like I stated, we do not have the receipts. We have not received financial statements showing where we are as a village since September. We have a Jumbotron right here that we use for everything else. If we have, show us on the Jumbotron so us and the rest of America can see where you all sent the trustees the financial statements, the credit card statements. We have not received credit card statements since last year around this time. At one point, when Trustee Belcher asked for them, the director, Tanjanique, stated, we cut the credit card off. Trustee Belcher said, okay, can you just show us where we cut the credit card off? We still haven't received any proof showing that we cut the credit card statements off. Here's the Jumbotron, show it to us, where you sent it to the trustees, showing us proof where we cut off the credit card statements. I find it strange that the credit card is supposed to be cut off, but yet every month we're sitting here and we're voting on a credit card statement. Seems ridiculous. How are we voting on a credit card statement when there is no credit card? Again, RFPs, they continue to say, oh, well, they do the work, pay the people. If they wanted these people to be paid, one, they'll pay them like they do everybody else. They don't wait on us, typically, so they shouldn't start waiting today. That's one. Then secondly, if we want them to get paid, let's be transparent. We all here, what's the problem with RFPs? We've been asking for RFPs since the start. Bring the people up here and let them bid for the jobs so we know what work is being done and how much we're paying for the work. Again, we continue to be silent. You sit up here and say what we can and cannot say. The fact of the matter is we all just want the paperwork. We don't want to sit here and be belittled by the staff with the things that you done prepped them to say before the meet. We're really sick of that. All we really want is the receipt.
This is the reality. The spending of this administration is crazy. That's why you have a board of trustees. If you're not going to listen to the board of trustees, then what are we up here for? Board of trustees to oversee the money. When the money is getting out the chain since we $277,000 in a red right now, and we're only not even beginning the budget, that's a concern for us. Like I said, she will bankrupt this town and blame it on us and say we don't want to help the people.
From 2019, 2020, 2021, those numbers were all under 600,000, some even below 500,000.
Wow. So the overtime for all the officers in the whole year, even with the security detail, was about 600,000 at max.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now we get to 2021, which is her first year. It's a half year because she takes office in May. That year it shoots up over $700,000.
Okay, and that's for that year. So you really have about $100,000 more for that year.
Yes. However, keep in mind I mentioned she only took office in May. So then we get to the 2022, which is her first full year, and overtime was up to 1.5, almost $1.6 million, and
what?
Well, I mean, and Fox did a great job reporting on it when they scrolled all the list of hours being paid and things like that. So when we're talking about the security detail, and you keep saying, okay, well, the collective bargaining agreement allows for it, that doesn't touch on the heart of the issue. The issue is, can the city afford it? The answer is a resounding no.
Wow.
But
so in 1 year, she used 3 years worth of overtime essentially in 1 year.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And I'll tell you, as a board member, and as we come into the next elections, we can tell you a way that we can save $1 million just by changing the mayor.
Aside from her security detail increasing payroll substantially, the endless events she threw to celebrate herself added to the police overtime, increasing by over 150%.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Let's go! Let's go, Pontiac! That's right.
You see how different it is out here in Dalton? It's different out here in Dalton. What you think?
Moving on to the next lie they tell in the video.
How y'all allow him to convince y'all to put him on the bank account when he is in trouble or has been in trouble with the feds. So if y'all follow up with everything going on in the community, y'all will understand what's going on. And these are facts. This is stuff people mess up money all day long. I keep telling y'all. So what I'm saying is y'all allow this man to go on the bank account. Y'all didn't do any of your research, your homework. Y'all didn't do nothing. But I guess it's good, huh? Because everybody got their hand in the cookie jar. So all I'm saying to you is all I try to do is protect the residents, speak out, tell y'all what's going on. I've done nothing wrong. I never do anything wrong because I grew here, as I always say. The rest of them flew here. Tell the people what the feds got you for them. Why was they at the healthcare custodian, which you worked at, and you was over the bank account, over right here at the U.S. Bank, and they walked you out, took your computer, seized your stuff. Talk to them then. You want to tell them? Talk to them. Tell the people. Talk to them. They right here. Right, exactly. He's not going to tell his stuff, but I know his stuff.
Jason House is a professional in every sense of the word. Even when he talks about defending himself against lies, he remains respectful.
And there's accusations hurled, lies told. Yeah. And now you have to, like, you're not going to let somebody sit there and just tell a lie on you and say nothing about it, because then publicly people believe that. Yeah. So you have to try to strike that balance of how do I clear up this lie that's being told about me and do it with a way that's dignified so that people still respect me. And that's a very hard position. And that's a position that the trustees and the board have been put in for the last 4 years. Yeah.
Thankfully, it was very easy to provide a receipt to the accusation Tiffany made against him. It's ironic that Tiffany is sitting next to her defense attorney while accusing Jason of being investigated by the FBI years ago. And yet, Tiffany is the one who has a defense attorney, and she hasn't even been charged yet. If that's not telling of what's to come, we don't know what is.
There was a board meeting in which she said the FBI was on you.
Sick of it. Trustee House, you've been picked up by the feds, right? The FBI got you at the U.S. Bank building, right? They came and seized your computer and everything, right? But you won't tell the people that. Y'all don't tell the people nothing, but yet y'all point the finger. Don't get me started.
And they had raided your house and took your computer and tell the truth, tell the truth. What's up with that? Did that happen? Are you under FBI surveillance?
No, and I thank you for that opportunity to talk about this and everything else. No, that never happened. I was never picked up. My computer was never taken. I'll tell you what the offbeat, or what she's trying to allude to on that matter is that many years ago I took a job working for a gentleman that was my mentor and my friend, because I've been in the finance industry for many years now, for virtually my entire career. And then ultimately the gentleman ended up having an investigation performed where there was a search warrant served on his home as well as his business. And it's trying to connect me to that person. And I say that at this moment, that he's been deceased for 4 years. So that she's trying to draw some kind of connection that really doesn't exist. It's untruthful. I was never picked up. I was never taken anywhere. And that's why I reminded the residents at the last meeting, there's only one person on the board that has a mugshot.
Don't worry, we are almost done. Here is the last clip from her video that we will comment on.
Of irregularities regarding financial mismanagement by Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
But she spent her entire presentation talking about things done by other people, by accountants, by disgraced Dalton official Keith Freeman, who's doing these things. Nowhere in her presentation did she say, or could she say, that Mayor Henyard approved a single one of the expenses that she was discussing.
We will pause here to quickly discuss Lori Lightfoot's report on Amazon purchases for synthetic ice and skates totaling nearly $50,000. Tiffany claims she knew nothing about it and didn't order it. But she managed to have an event there just weeks later, which by the way was postponed until February, guessing they needed the ice skates to arrive first. This event was not a village event, but a campaign event that she held on village property. It's very strange that her campaign expenditures that she is legally obligated to file with the state of Illinois didn't contain any expenses for her Rip the Runway campaign fundraiser. Well, besides a few grocery items. We wonder who paid for it. And in case there is any confusion on whether or not Tiffany takes credit for the ice skating rink, we got you covered. She must have forgot it's village-owned, not her personal playground.
It's Black History Month. Of course I have an outdoor skating rink. Of course I do.
That I've been building an ice skating rink, a roller skating rink, outdoor, bigger than Rockefeller's. Did I get any news play on that? Nothing.
He intentionally misleads the public by telling them she hasn't spent any money on this ice rink. Yet every warrant list seems to contain multiple invoices for it. And we are pretty sure the Amazon purchases for synthetic ice counts as a purchase for the ice rink.
Never approved the ice rink, ever. We never spent any money from the village, from the taxpayers, or for the ice rink. We did not. No. Someone donated us the ice rink.
No. Well, if they donated it, why is it still on the warrant list?
Because just to show people y'all say no, just to say no.
Take it off.
Just to say no.
The trustees saw the writing on the wall early on, Trustee Belcher even called the exact excuse Tiffany would use for her defense one day, which was the whole theme of her slander video we covered here.
There are bills that we have the right to take off. We have the right to make decisions about. You say that you're running it at the end of the day, because this is going to be the narrative. When we go broke, you're going to say, I wasn't even on the bank account. The trustees did it. When at the end of the day, you're making decisions and spending money and then get mad when we don't approve it.
Hey, Tiff, do you want to respond?
Because, hey, the party don't stop because someone told us no.
As the mayor and daily oversight of the village, Tiffany said she doesn't always know what her employees are doing or what they are buying. But isn't it her responsibility to know what her employees are doing and spending? And if she saw millions of dollars being spent without her consent, why didn't she stop them or fire them? This makes her a terrible leader. She is upset with the trustees questioning the spending and making immense efforts to control the deficit. They have done the right thing without fail for 4 years. They held her accountable, something she will never be able to do for herself. Take accountability. Being a leader requires someone to admit when they are wrong and take responsibility for the decisions they or their team made. Tiffany, last thing we will say, if it's never you, it's probably you.